Al's opinions are his own and do not necessarily represent those of Radio 1 Incorporated, our affiliates, our subsidiaries, or our advertisers.
Keeping it real.
I believe it's also important for the world to keep their eye on Israel's new prime minister, because there was a lot of protests going on. Rights in Israel.
Be a part of the conversation. Have your say.
They don't want a two-state solution. They want to see Israel totally destroyed. Israel is controlling everything about the Palestinians. Their resources, their food, their water, their life. Well, you're giving them no choice.
Just keep it real.
This thing with Israel is so dangerous, it's almost like thought of World War III, and we're not careful.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York.
There's no side that can justify, to me, killing innocent people.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Keeping it real with the world's civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live. You're live, sir. Rev, you there, sir? All right. Ready, sir?
Yeah.
All right, you are live.
All right, I'm ready.
You're live.
It's Wednesday, March the 5th, Women's History Month. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to all those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, the Urban View. And for you that are watching this on live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net or following us on YouTube/NAN. And I see our live stream audience is up and at it already. Anthony Prosser, Happiness Donuts, Chuck, Cheryl, JDW, Janet Overall. I see a bunch of y'all already sending me messages on live stream, and I like that. That's good. Y'all check in when I check in, and that's a good thing. Well, a lot to talk about today, and of course, the top of the list is the speech, the longest joint House speech in history. Last night, I think it was like an hour and 40 minutes, hour 40-something minutes. And it was crazy. I can't think of a better word. His economic focus, and I'm trying to make sense out of it, his economic focus with trade and tax priorities, he doubled down on his newly imposed 20% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, framing them as necessary defense against unfair foreign trade policies. And immediately, both Canada and Mexico came back and said, well, then we're going to do some tariffs on you consumer goods to this country. He went deep into culture wars. He aggressively leaned into transgender rights and diversity programs, saying they're over. Woke is over. And foreign policy, he criticized the United States aid to Ukraine, and he revived his long-standing interest in acquiring Greenland and suggested reclaiming control of the Panama Canal. And that's just the highlights. Some of the stuff that fact checkers caught him on, he totally exaggerated the immigration numbers. And his claims on the impact of tariffs and what the economic fallout would be was all folks fact checkers, even some on Fox was saying that he didn't add up right. And the fact that he would deal with Social Security fraud, falsely claiming that millions of people over 100 years old were receiving payments. What world is he living in? Millions of people over 100 years old. He took credit for Army recruiting, but the biggest driver of improved enlistment program was 2022. And somebody need to tap him on the shoulder. He wasn't president in 2022. Biden was. And of course, he had to name Biden the worst president in American history. Okay. So I guess all of those slavery-owning presidents before the Emancipation Proclamation, they wasn't bad. They were just doing what they had to do. Over and over again, it was amazing. Senator Elisa Slotkin was the Democratic respondent, and she called for the responsible change and bipartisanship. She gave her picture on the economic and national security concerns and her concerns about democracy. I thought she was kind of moderate, low-key, but made her point. And then when we wake up this morning, well, for you that wake up 7, 8, I get up 4 o'clock and work out. Trump's approval rating has dropped now, according to 538 polling average shows Trump approval rating at 47.6%, with 47.9% disapproval. Now, historically, Trump has struggled with public support. During his first term, he never surpassed 50% job approval. So the public sentiment is down. He's more negative than positive. And on key issues, Reuters Ipsos poll that contributed to Trump's declining approval showed only 34% of Americans believe the country is headed in the right direction, while 49% say it's on the wrong track. I wish they had voted that way, but they didn't. And here we are. So we can talk about his speech. He had Elon Musk there up in the balcony for the families, commended him on his attack on workers there. And, of course, there was I'm trying to just see my call screen. There was also the opposition. Some of the members of Congress on the Democratic side were holding up signs against what he was saying. Some said liar, some said Elon Musk must go. Congressman Al Green from Texas was escorted out because he got up and started interrupting him being Trump, when Trump tried to say he had a mandate about Social Security. And Green got up and said, you don't, and they escorted him out. Interesting to me, when Congressman Wilson heckled Barack Obama during a State of the Union address, I didn't see anybody walk him out. But, hey, it is what it is. So we're going to talk about the speech. We're going to talk about where we are in this country. And we'll talk about what we need to do. I'm getting ready to take a break, and I'm going to line up your calls at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and we'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people They called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling. I kept going, and the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing, and you in the pulpit. Well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let me say by way of announcements, don't forget Saturdays and Sundays, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And we try to have the people in positions of power on the issues we're talking about, or people with the right information, and challenge members of Congress, members of the Senate, and mayors, governors. Whatever is happening that week, we are dead on it, and I'm going to bring it with no chaser. I'm going to bring it right to the point. Having said that about Politics Nation, last weekend, for you that watch every week, little did we know that when we had Congressman Sylvester Turner on, who had been the former mayor of Houston, that'd be his last TV show. He passed away last night. He had been mayor, a member of Congress. I'd worked with Congressman Turner, Mayor Turner, and I asked for prayers for his family because he was, from every encounter I had, a good man. And he did the show on Sunday night, and I had no idea that'd be the last time we would be speaking. But he went back home after attending the State of the, well, it wasn't State of the Union, just the Joint House, got sick and died. And to all the people in Houston, as well as particularly his family, you have our prayers. Let me also remind you that are in the tri-state area to make sure that you come to the Saturday Action Rally. A lot is happening, and you need to be charged up and ready to go.
And we keep ourselves energized because we meet every Saturday morning at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. 9 a.m., I let you go at 11. And certainly, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television or at www.nationalactionnetwork.net live stream. And the convention. We add more and more. We're going to have one of the presidents of South Africa, the former president of South Africa, has joined the list, along with Michael Eric Dyson and Ben Crump, Patti LaBelle, on and on and on. Titania Ali, who y'all knew from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Stacey Abrams, all of them confirmed to speak or do workshops. All free. All free. And if you register, then you can get in any session for nothing. Just register now at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And or you can call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. All right, let's go to phones and to the messages. Let me look at a few postings. Put up the one from Bucky Cole. Bucky Cole, I think I'm saying it right. Bucky Cole. This is what Bucky's writing in our comments. Al Sharpton, people are tired of your raises. I guess they're saying racist. They didn't spell it right. Hate speech. You will need to let God in your heart, and then and only then will you start loving people, all people. When you get God in your heart, you will start preaching love because God is love. Well, Bucky, I not only agree with you that God is love and love in my heart, that's why I fight for people. Because I love people. I stand up for my people. I stand up for other people. And I think that you interpret people speaking passionately for people that are oppressed and exploited as hate speech. That's not hate speech. That's love speech. I'll give you an example, Bucky, since you took the time, and I respect it, to write me the note. When a man killed a young boy in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and they would not give up the killers, and they killed them because they said they didn't allow blacks in the neighborhood. And I went out and started leading a series of marches because that young boy lost his life at 16 years old. I loved him. And one day, we was marching every Saturday. One Saturday, a man, white male, jumped out crowd and stabbed me in the chest. Rushed me to the hospital. We didn't know how deep the wound would be. We didn't know whether the severity, I'll put it that way, the wound. Found out it didn't hit an artery, but they kept me 3 or 4 days. They caught the guy, put him on trial, found him guilty of assault with a deadly weapon, and sentenced him. I went to the sentencing of the man who tried to kill me and said to the judge that this man was doing what the neighborhood taught him to do. Don't blame this man. I forgive him. You got to follow the law, but I hold no animosity to him. He was trained wrong. Judge said, I respect you saying that, Reverend Sharpton, you're the victim, but I'm giving him 10 years in jail. Then I went and visited him in jail. The man tried to kill me and had prayer with him. And he thanked me. He said he had an alcohol problem. His father was alcoholic. And he said no one ever gave him a chance until I stood up for him in court, and he was in court for trying to kill me. That's love. Love is not standing up, just proclaiming love. Love is when you're tested. So, Bucky, I'm confident that I have the love of God in my heart. Otherwise, I would have never forgiven that man, never stood up for that man. And I can give you other occasions, but nothing is more serious than somebody trying to take your life and you stand up anyhow. So do a little more research and you'll find out. I don't preach hate, never have, never will. I think it's hate to talk about people's countries or S-hole countries. I think it's hate to single out Mexicans, Haitians, and then say you want the people in Canada to be your state. I think that's hate. When the October 7th happened, I was the first one to jump up and say, wait a minute, that is wrong to kill innocent women and children in Israel. And then when Netanyahu went the other way, I said it's just as wrong to kill people in the Gaza. Love is love. You can't have love for some and not love for others. So I answered you in the spirit of maybe you were being sincere and not just heckling, or maybe you weren't. I don't think you were, because I don't think you play with God like that, misusing his name. But only you know that answer. Let's take a break. Keeping it real. Sharpton, going to the phones.
This is an
No just stand still. No just stand still. No just stand still. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like my God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We never shine, never shade. Give me a papa God, rain, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, It may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized.
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and watch us live stream and send a message on our comment board or YouTube/NAN. Jack Williams says, looking forward to this year's NAN convention. I learned so much in 4 days. It's awesome. Well, good. Make sure you come over. Speak to me, Jack. I'm there as the whole 4 days all over the place. And nice of you to say that about the convention. It's going to be action-packed and a lot of policy. and I'm glad you're coming. Delois Thomas says Representative Sylvester Turner, freshman Democrat, dies at 70. Has anyone expressed condolences from President Trump's team? I don't know the answer to that. I know I've, Delois, said my sympathies to the family. Like I said, he was on my MSNBC show Sunday night. And that is the seat Sheila Jackson Lee held. And then when she passed, who was a very effective warrior for justice, I knew her well. She was at our convention many years, and including last year. And I miss her tremendously. Her daughter finished out her term, and then Mayor Turner won the primary and the general election and took the seat, and now he's passed. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jerry in Cleveland, Ohio. Jerry, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I just wanted to say that, I watched some of the speech last night. I can't watch much of him because it's nothing but lies and it's just a lot of foolishness. And I listened to C-SPAN, which I listen to sometimes, and it's frustrating listening to a lot of the Republican callers. But one thing that came through, I think I heard last night, somebody commented that Trump's not worried about getting people who aren't in his base to vote for him. Because the people who are in his base are obsessed. They're going to vote for him no matter what. And Democrats have a tendency to want to get some of those Republicans to vote for him. But if these people will vote for him and he did an insurrection, he exploited the child that has cancer, bringing him up there while they're defunding their cancer research, which I believe saves quite a few lives. He talks about big talk about cops, saying that anyone who kills a cop should get the death penalty.
Yeah, that's what he said.
While he let people out of jail that were attacking and beating up cops. That tells me that these people, they don't care. They want what they want, and until something affects them, they're not going to worry about it. Because I never forget once hearing the story of a guy called the show, and he said that he always voted Republican and didn't believe in the health care until his wife got sick.
Right.
She got so sick, and he depleted his funds and didn't have any money. Then all of a sudden he wants to worry about.
Yeah, he understands the Affordable Care Act now.
So what I think we need to do, two things. One is let's go to our people, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, and get our base out there, because our base is as committed as the Republican base. But we got to make sure they know there's an urgency. And number two, I heard from somebody that the largest black-owned bank, doesn't have $1 billion.
I've not heard that. Is that right?
That's what someone told me. I haven't researched it to find out, but I'm sure they're black-owned banks. And if that's the case, I think one of the most powerful things that can be done is if our people, like these athletes, these entertainers, invest their money in those banks, wouldn't that help our communities more than anything else? Because wouldn't they be more likely to invest in our communities and invest in us than a lot of these white banks?
Well, let me tell you, you stole some of my thunder at the convention, because among the things that we're going to demand from the companies that we go after is that companies that make a lot of their money out of the black community ought to be banking some of that money in black banks. Yes, athletes. Yes, entertainers. But they are peanuts compared to some of these major corporations who a lot of their sales, 30-40% of their sales comes from our community, yet they don't have a bank account with any of our black banks. And the reason that becomes important is the more solvent and liquid a black bank is, the more they can do home mortgages, the more they can do bank loans,
Right.
business loans, all of that. So you make 35-40% of your money, retailer, from black folks, but all your money is in a white bank, and they use that to do investments and loans, mortgages, and the like. And then you call us incapable. No, it's that our money is not working for us. We have a lot of capacity, and that's why we've got to do these boycotts. But you raise an excellent point. Thank you for your call. Let me
I
go.
give you another example
All
if
right,
I
go
get
ahead.
a chance.
Go ahead.
Okay, in Cleveland, what they have is like this is talking about education.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the white schools, and they have computers and laptops, and they have these. Whereas in the black communities, they have on these news stations where they're trying to get money together so that the black schools can get books, something as simple as books and notebooks and pencils. No one's investing. This is just going on what you were just saying. No one's invested in our community. We're going for notebooks and things, whilst they have iPads and they have computers.
That's right.
And then they want to come out and say that, black people, they're not doing as well as the white kids. Well, let's see how well the white kids would do if they
That's
had
right.
to
They
scrape to get
say
money
that
for
we're
books.
not prepared, but we're going to the schools that do not prepare us like that. If young blacks are not taught technology, they cannot exist in this present world in terms of information. And it's only going to get even worse because technology advances. So when I was going to school, it was, books, encyclopedias, math quiz.
Same here.
My grandson is on social media, and he's only 6 years old, just started school. So you're exactly right. It is where the resources go and the type of educational institutions that we're given. And when you look at the fact that we all pay the same city tax, but we all don't enjoy the same educational allotments with the city tax, that's why you got to raise sand like we do. But thank you for your call. Let me go to Rufus in Georgia. Rufus, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good morning, good afternoon, Brother Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about, Miss Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Well, I'm concerned that maybe she might need to donate about $10 or $15 million to your organization, because she had a lot to do with introducing Mr. Donald Trump to the black community in a positive light. And she also had a lot to do with introducing Dr. Oz in a positive light. And she also had something to do with introducing Dr. Phil in a positive light. So 3 strikes you out.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Rufus. I'll say this, that I certainly, National Academic could use the money, but I do want to say that Oprah and others were fooled by Donald Trump. Donald Trump used to come to our stuff, and I never trusted him because I had marched on him about Central Park 5. But Oprah has dealt with a lot of people, as all of us had, that turned out to be something different. But I certainly could take the donation. I would not be angry at all. Let me try to get Ray in here from Cincinnati, the Buzz. Ray?
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Rev. I'll try to keep it brief. That speech last night, it was a typical Trump speech full of lies, mistruths, exaggerations, and hate. Now, a couple things. First of all, the cancer kid. You know, how as a father do you let your son be used as a prop? Your son has, if that was his son, could have been his nephew or whatever, but he has cancer. But now Trump is cutting funding for cancer. So how do you let yourself be used like that? I'll never know. But Rev, a couple more things. Trump, man, this is how dumb Trump is. First, he says he's not going to let any unelected bureaucrats, run the show. But then isn't Musk one of them?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is the unelected bureaucrat.
Right.
And so he's just that dumb that he don't even know what he's saying. And if people don't know by now, when Elon Musk says that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, if you don't know by now that they're coming after Medicare and Social Security, then they are dumb as they look, Rev. And I don't know if Alyssa Slotkin, she had it was a feel-good, 10-minute feel-good rebuttal of 150, an hour and 50-minute speech. I'd give it a C, Rev. I think she could have said, this is what Biden left us. Now this is where Trump is going to take us.
Yeah.
I give her a C. I don't know what grade you would give her, but I would give her a C, Rev.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
Where Frederick Douglass laid. Don't stand on the ground where Rosa Parks laid, unless you're going to really do what it is we committing to do. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness, principalities, wickedness in high places. I want everyone, if you are resolved, to just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, Al Sharpton, do solemnly commit that I will stand up and rise up in the name of Dr. King, in the name of Frederick Douglass, in the name of Rosa Parks, and I will defend equality for all, diversity, equality, inclusion, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, immigration rights. I take this oath that I will not become like those I'm fighting. I'm not for violence, but I will peacefully stand against those that want to bring us down. I commit this in the house of God on this sacred ground. So help me God. Congratulate yourself. Why you stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do? When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your areas. Use that and believe in that. And your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. I've had a week with bookends of sadness for me. On Monday, I believe, we got word of the passing of Roberta Flack. And Roberta Flack, many of you that's been members of NAN for years, she supported this organization. I first met Roberta Flack when I was about 12 years old. And I had just joined the Brooklyn chapter of Operation Breadbasket. And we had a rally at Bethany Baptist Church. And I was seated on the side in the front because they was getting ready to make me youth director. And the national director of Breadbasket came that night, Reverend Jesse Jackson. And as he came in, he had this lady sitting next to me, and it was Roberta Flack. And I couldn't believe I was sitting there. He told, "Don't let nobody bother, tell us your sister." I said, "Everybody in Brooklyn know my sister." But we bonded from there on, and down through the years, she loved to tell Dominique and Ashley how she knew me when I was a little boy. She'd come and host Kathy's birthdays at Canaan. And it's one of the things that I really appreciated about her. She had her own way of doing music. And, you know, when you are self-confident, you don't have to imitate everybody else. You do things your way. And she did not try to do what other female R&B, they called it at that time. You gotta remember, she became big in the 70s. And the 70s rhythm and blues was hardcore. This is before rap. But she came with this smooth kind of soul that people thought at the record company, that's not gonna sell. And she made hits when it wasn't fashionable and could play a piano. Give a big hand to Roberta Flack. One of the things that we're going to deal with is this DEI and deal with how we target a company that has joined the anti-DEI movement. Now, there are other efforts going on, and I support them. I'm not against nobody doing whatever they think is right. But I know how to do a boycott. I'm not talking about, I support what a bishop is doing in Georgia, Reggie Jackson, and my friend and brother Jamal Bryant doing the 40-day don't buy. That's great. Somebody else is doing shutdown on the 28th. That's great. They put my name out there. I know about it, but I'm not against it. But what we must do is we're going to convene at the network convention where we have now a commission that we have started in NAN on King Day, that on 90 days later, which will be in the middle of our convention, we will give the report on a company that has a high level of consumer doubt that comes out of our community and a small margin of profit. We know then that we can take a real impact because he cannot have his margin of profit turn into a loss and sustain itself. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to announce we're going to buy some stock in some of these companies and go to the stockholders meeting. So all of y'all here today, I'm going to buy some shares and we go into the stockholders meeting and stand up in the meeting and say, how do you sell in our community, but you won't give contracts to our people? You won't hire our people. You won't deal with the C-suites. So we're going to have a multi-pronged strategy. Why don't you advertise on black media? We're going across the board and that we're laying out the plan. And we got people those 4 days. People that are watching that want to come, all you have to do is register www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number. You can call now. People are at the phones now at 1-877-626-4651.
And Tennessee State was the one they shorted the most.
Absolutely. Well, let me know. I'm on the next plane as soon as you holler. You know, when Ben Crump called, I don't even question it. I just head to the airport and get the details on the way.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York.
Ready, sir?
Keeping it real. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. On our message board on live stream, Rufus, the seer, son of Yah, says, I was strongly against any black person going to that speech last night because I know that the only thing that Donald Trump loves more than money is attention. It was a bad move to go. Well, you got that right, Rufus, about he loves attention more than money. Man, stand up there and speak an hour and 40 minutes and really had no new anything. It reminded me, James Brown used to sing, talking loud and saying nothing. Let's go to Richard in Atlanta, Georgia. Richard, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Al Sharpton?
I'm doing fine. How you doing, Richard?
All right. You know what's first aggravating to me? Racist white men like Trump. They automatically assume when somebody black is in a position, they not qualify the guy because of affirmative action or DEI. That's insulting, and it's a lie. Matter of fact, he just got rid of the Joint Chief of Staff to Chairman Brown over unqualified white general.
That's right.
Don't have any credentials near what General Brown had. The Joint Chief of Staff now is all white males.
If you look at that cabinet, they have one little black guy over hood, and everything else is white. I guess that's what the black supporters of his wanted. I mean, it's crazy. He doesn't even try to hide it. He's in your face with it.
And being a veteran myself, the military, one of the most racist parts of society. It's an unkept secret. There's a lot of racists in the military. I was in the Army myself. I know what I'm talking about. That's why it's so few 4-star generals in the Army, or Marines, or the Air Force. They're mostly white. You hardly see a black reach the 4-star general.
That's true.
And it's because of racism. I know it.
That's true. Thank you for your call. Let me stay in the line and go to Faye. Faye, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is Faye there?
She's not answering.
I don't hear Faye, so let me move on. Let me go to the sage of the South in Atlanta, Georgia. Jihad. Jihad, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, I'm doing a T-shirt with the picture of Trump's cabinet, and I'm doing two of them. One of them has his cabinet, all of the pictures, and underneath it says "Make America White Again."
I love that. Wow.
Yeah, and then
You got to
and the
give me
second
one of them. I'll put it
Yeah, I
on my
will.
Instagram.
We'll be in Selma this weekend with it. We'll
All
be in
right.
Selma this
Good.
The second one has Trump cabinet, and then it has Biden cabinet next to each other, and then it talks about what's the difference, and
Wow.
it breaks down the diversity in America. But you know, Reverend Al, even if it appears even if we point it out as factual as we can, to those people it makes no difference. You know what I mean? And that's the scary and the sad part about it. That no matter what truth you throw at these people, there's just something wrong with them, Rev. I'll be honest with you. There's something wrong with them. I mean, they let me get to this Ukraine situation. Now, here, this guy last week, there was something the United States was doing for Ukraine with cyber, and he stopped that last week. Then, late after this, this was just before the meeting they had. Then after the meeting, he stopped the funds.
Yeah.
And then today he stopped the intelligence sharing.
Right.
Now, anybody with their right mind would ask the question, why are you taking all of the support system away from these people and not putting any pressure on the aggressor or the invader? None at all. You know what I mean? So what this guy is doing is creating the condition where Zelensky has to come back.
Right.
If the European Union doesn't step up. Now, here's the people. He said that we gave them $200-300 billion. To the American people, who did Zelensky spend that money with?
Exactly.
The Americans.
Exactly.
With the Americans. You know what I mean? So he's talking about them giving us money, giving Zelensky money, excuse me, and then Zelensky turned around and gave him back the money for the weapons that was put back in our economy. They got a Ponzi scheme. They got a scheme that's so, I mean, it's so sinister. You know what I mean? You start the war. You start the war by you make the country weak by having them give up their nuclear weapons, and then you push the country to want to be in NATO, and then you entice Russia to invade the country, and then you give the country some weapons. Now, keep in mind, Rev, they just gave them the weapons necessary to even fight the war a year ago. It was a 3-year-old war.
Yeah.
Remember, they kept asking them for more sophisticated equipment to fight with, right? So Ukraine has proven that they are capable of fighting if they had the right equipment, right? And that's the sinister part of what they're doing also. They didn't give the people, they're saying that they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance because you did not give them a chance. You know what I mean? Because if Russia was so powerful and you were fighting and these people were so inferior, and it took Russia 3 years and the help of Donald Trump to defeat these people, something's wrong with that picture.
Very
you know what I mean?
wrong.
And my issue is, I'm tired of them just getting away with the lies, Rev, all throughout history. They just lie. Their whole history is a history of lie and hypocrisy. And it appears that they get away with it every time, and they get right on TV and talk and look us right in the face and just outright lie. Now in with this, Rev. The Democrats need to, on something one of your callers just said, the Democrats need to demand that a copy of those checks to the so-called Social Security people that's 300-year-old be presented, right? Because if they issued these checks to these people, 150 and 100 something, they had to be cashed, so they should have a copy of the return check. So the Democrats shouldn't just allow them to get away with painting this picture, which is to destroy confidence in the Social Security system, to degrade their credibility, and then do what your caller just said, take the money from them or cut them or do whatever they're going to do. So they create the atmosphere again, destroy the character and the image of the organization, and then come in, like my boy said, as a Ponzi scheme, then come in and take it, and then justify taking it based upon the situation that they created and the lies that they told. Rev, they're just too evil, bro. I mean, we trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but these some evil people, Rev. Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate you.
Rev. Yes. Let's go back to the phone. Let me go to my man Leon in Dallas, Texas. Leon.
I lost the screen. What line?
Leon is line 2.
There you go. I didn't hear hear the bell for the round. You know, when you get ready to go, you have to hear the bell like in the box.
Yeah, you don't supposed to run out your corner until you hear the bell. That's right.
Yeah, you hear the bell, right? So yeah, Reb. Some of the things you said earlier, I have a saying that you don't extend forgiveness until you receive justice. And you talked about how the guy stabbed you and how you stood up for him, but the judge said you got to do 10 years.
Right.
And so it's okay to forgive them after you receive their justice, but I'm the kind of person, I won't get the justice and then I'll forgive you. I'm not going to forgive you until I get the justice, because we've been mistreated for so long. We got to make sure we get our justice.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and you were talking about the boycott.
And let me say this on that forgiving piece. When I went to the jail and visited him, he had been in there about 2 months, and he thanked me for forgiving him and telling his sad story. He came out of, alcoholic father and all, and he was white and Italian. And I said, let me explain something to you. I did not forgive you for you. I forgave you for me, because I can't carry that around the rest of my life. So I got to let it go. Some things you do because of you, and you don't need to be carrying that with you. You know, people, and not even in just races, in life, people can do you wrong. Don't carry that around with you. Let it go. Say, look, you did it. It was wrong. I forgive you. I may not have nothing to do with you again, but I'm not going to carry you around the rest of my life. And I felt free. That's why I did it. But go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I have a twisted sister. We were talking about the boycott you mentioned earlier. You're going to, do that in detail at the NAN convention. And my twisted sister says, I don't believe in boycotting. The Bible says we're supposed to pay for our leaders. And pray for our leaders. And I'm saying to myself, this is kind of misguided. And that's the word I'll use on the radio show.
Right. I'm sure you had a different word.
Yes. And considering we grew up in Montgomery, Alabama.
Y'all grew up in Montgomery, and she don't believe in boycotting?
As I said, I'll say it like this again. She's a twisted sister.
Does she ride the back of the bus when she get on the bus? Hold on a minute. We got to finish this, Leon. Hold on. Keeping it real. Sharpton.
He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me.
I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people, and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God doesn't smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say real song. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I went home and I told my mother what Brown told me. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but He looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. And that it's been so good to me. Yes, He has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clay Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. He has set me free. God smile on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God He was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for His children, that God will make a way out of no way if you just keep the faith and refuse to lose. And God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me go right back to Leon. Leon in Dallas, Texas. Go ahead, Leon.
Thank you for bringing me back, Reverend Al. I don't want to go backwards to my twisted sister, but it was like, okay, there's enough stories about that I could make a Tyler Perry movie with. So, you mentioned the boycott, and I sent you the information about the economic complex, because we need somewhere to spend our money when we don't spend it with these other people that decide they don't want DEI, which Trump came straight at us with that. And DEI is a code word, and woke is a code word for black.
That's right.
And so
even though DEI helps more than blacks, it helps veterans, it helps disabled, it helps women, but they made it black. They talking about black folk. That's why they rallying all these people around it.
Right, and affirmative action, we don't want that, and critical race theory, we don't want that. All those are coded language terms for black African American.
Right.
Okay, so we don't want to spend our money with these people who don't want to respect us as consumers. So I was thinking, Well, if we can't.
Hello?
I think I lost Leon.
I think you lost him.
Wait.
Replacement.
Okay, we got him.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I need to resell something, but you're familiar with the Green Book, right?
Yeah.
Of course you are. And this is something that African Americans used during the Jim Crow era because this book would tell them where they could go and be welcome, and they could, transact business, food, housing, etc. So I was thinking, what if we do a digital application, virtual Green Book called the Black Book, Green Book, in conjunction with what you're doing with the boycotts. So if we don't have a particular location we can go to, we can look on this app and, okay, there's a black business that does this in Harlem. There's another black business that does this in Brooklyn, or there's another black. You see what I'm saying?
I like
and we
that.
can use that. What'd you say right now?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I do computers, and I'd like to try to work on that. And then when I get it kind of built up, the app, then I'll, we talk, on a periodic basis. I'll let you know. I said, well, I got this thing ready to prototype, and let's see if we can make this thing work so we can have somewhere to spend our money when we got to spend our money on something.
No, we're going to spend the money.
You know what I mean?
You are right. We are going to spend our money. So we need to be able to redirect it. We need to be able to say, don't shop here, but go here. And if you can get that, if you can follow that Green Book prototype up with me, that'd be great to have at the convention, even if we just did it on digital and build it as we go. But get me a format on that.
I will do that.
All right, I'm looking for it. Thank you for your call. And in fact, sitting in the office here with me is JT Challenger, who handles our media and technology stuff. He know what to do with it. You just get it to me, and we can blow that up during the convention. Let's go to Geralda in Brooklyn, New York. Geralda.
Hello, Geralda's here, and she's keeping it real.
All right. Good to hear your voice.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I hear you well, yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you said you couldn't hear me.
No, I said I hear you well. Good to hear your voice.
I just want to make a remark about the committee questioning the mayors for the sanctuary cities. But before I go on with that, when respectfully, when I make a remark, I would like a response, and then if you say something, I would like to respond back to what you say without getting cut off.
Well, I can't guarantee you that now.
Oh, okay.
No, because you might say something that's cut off a bull. Anytime. All right, then go ahead. Let's go.
No,
Let's
I'm
go.
not gonna
Let's
do
try
that.
it. Let's try
I'm
it.
never going to do that.
All right, let's try
I'm
it.
never going to do that.
Let's try it.
But, Rev, I was watching the questioning today, and, everything that these Republicans, I would guess, that are asking the mayors apply to their ancestors. I mean, I don't understand where they're trying to be right, everything with birthrights. The fact that criminals from other places, well, the criminals they're referring to are actually Americans, but they're born in different parts of this land. Criminals that came here and commit crimes, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm saying to myself, these people are really jaded. They don't understand themselves. They don't understand their own history. And it's ridiculous that they're trying to now. Let me find out something from you, because I'm a bit confused. Sanctuary cities was developed through the federal government laws.
Sanctuary cities are cities, and their city governments designated that they can be a sanctuary city where people could be housed and until they met the legal requirements from there. So it's mostly in local cities that have take an initiative, and usually their city councils vote on it, they become a sanctuary city, and the federal government at the time would accept that.
Oh, okay. So that's where I'm getting confused. Because I'm saying to myself, now, didn't the federal government allocate sanctuary cities?
Yeah.
So what is the confusion about, and why are they trying to make it seem like sanctuary cities is fighting against the government when it was law before? You know, people need to understand that these folks are trying to confuse them. They're trying to confuse them because they want to be right. They want to be right when they know they're wrong. And they need to stop telling lies, and their news media need to stop telling lies to solidify the lies. They're artful liars, and they're very detrimental to people in general, like yourself. You gave that young man that stabbed you, you gave him forgiveness. But Rev, I'm saying to you, it's nice that you gave him forgiveness, but people like him are brainwashed over the same type of nonsense that these people in Washington are trying to inflict a lot of in our minds that's causing harm to other people. And they're based on lies, serious lies.
You're right. I think as I said earlier, that when I visited the guy in jail, he said to me, he looked me in the eye and said, "You don't understand. If I had killed Al Sharpton, I'd have been a hero in my community." And that's probably was the most chilling thing I ever heard. God look at you in your eye and tell you if he killed you, he'd have been a hero. So it shows exactly what you're saying. Hold on, I'm going to let you finish. Let me take my break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
I just finished my Keeping It Real radio show, Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton, on various local stations all over the country, as well as on Sirius XM and on live stream on nationalactionnetwork.net. And I was saying to the people how I was embarrassed for the country when I saw the tape of President Trump getting into a shouting match with the president of Ukraine and calling President Biden name and just all kind of street talk. Sitting there in the Oval Office representing the United States, he couldn't resist taking shots at President Obama, President Biden, having J.D. Vance playing gang up, whether they had practiced this or thought they should do this or not. It's beneath the dignity of any president to engage another head of state like that in a very demeaning, disrespectful way. That's one of the reasons why I keep telling people I've dealt with Donald Trump for 35 years. He calls people names. There's no substance there. There's no sensitivity to what you're doing there. This week, he tweeting names, calling me names, and Joy Reid names, and Rachel Maddow names, just names. And we ought to be above that if we're going to serve the public. Secondly, I wanted to make it clear that, there's been the news out all over about today. A lot of people boycotted. I hope they did. Didn't buy anything. Mr. Schwartz out of the Midwest started this. He wasn't trying to be a leader. He was starting up something that he felt would have impact. And that's good. They put my name on it saying this is what Sharpton said. And I did say it. And we have a call of 90 days that we're going to go, not for one day, we're going to announce that we're going after one or two corporations. And we're going to go and stay on that until we win them reinstating DEI or coming with something that is clear that they're committed to diversity. So whether it's the one day today that Schwartz and them are doing, that I support any effort, whether it is what some are doing during the Lenten season, Bishop Reginald Jackson and my friend and brother, Reverend Jamal Bryant in Atlanta, whatever it is, we support all efforts. In the civil rights movement, you had Dr. Martin Luther King with SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, but you had students that were not members of his organization called SNCC. They formed their own, John Lewis, later Stokely Carmichael, and they did what they did. And you had James Farmer in CORE and Congress of Racial Equality that James Farmer led, and Floyd McKissick followed. You had Dorothy Hayden, National Council of Negro Women. There was always different ways we did things. Let's not fight each other. Let's fight those that have done things that have stifled and in many ways prevented fairness and justice for all of us. Those that fight us are united. You got Republicans that know Donald Trump is wrong, but they stay united with him because they want whatever their political goals are to be realized. We should be at least mature enough to be together and support everything that is to the advantage of our making this society equal and fair. That is what we're about. And I would hope you that said that Trump is speaking for you or relating to you, I hope you saw the desecration he did in the Oval Office today. You don't treat people like that. But I guess you do, if you think like that. Bless you. Have a great weekend. See you at the rally in Harlem if you're in New York. I'll see you on Politics Nation Saturday and Sunday night if you're not in New York. Blessings. I've had a week with bookends of sadness for me. On Monday, I believe, we got word of the passing of Roberta Flack. And Roberta Flack, many of you that's been members of NAN for years, she supported this organization. I first met Roberta Flack when I was about 12 years old. And we're back, keeping it real. And let me go back to Geraldo. Geraldo, let me say something clear, because I looked it up. I take being on the air serious. I want to always give the right information to the best of my ability. You asked about sanctuary cities. A sanctuary city, a sanctuary city is a municipality that limits or denies its cooperation with the national government in enforcing immigration laws. So it's what I said. It's when a city or municipality says we're going to limit what the federal government can do in here for so-called illegal immigrants or whatever it is. That's a sanctuary city.
Okay. Now, Rev, I don't know how long it's been. Well, you said after 10 years the man did his time XYZ. But do you think you could reopen that case to find out how he was able to get that tag of the day that was only privy to the police department?
Yeah, some lawyers questioned that before, and then one of them was disbarred. Somebody asked me that I think we should. What she's referring to for people listening is we go out there every Saturday in March, and every Saturday they'd have the uniformed police there because they had mobs of whites throwing bananas at us, calling us the N-word and all that. And they'd have those undercover cops that wore a certain color jacket, like a nylon jacket. This guy had on the jacket color of the day, so he knew what color to wear that stabbed me. And she's right. We never investigated how did he know that. He had to have some insight, or somebody had some insight and told him to what the police were and were not doing that day. The other thing that was strange about that day, Geraldo, is that we had every week 2, 3, sometimes 500 people marching with us. There'd be the same amount of whites on both sides of the street heckling us and throwing stuff at us. And you had all these police out there and no ambulance. And they wanted to know when I got stabbed why there wasn't an ambulance there. They had to put me in one of the marchers' cars and bring me to the hospital. Now, a cop got in the car with us, but you would think with that kind of, and this was the 29th week we were marching, with that kind of, those amount of people and that kind of tension, they'd have EMS and everything else on standby. They didn't.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing, now they, like to put down black people of all kinds of status. And this young man, Luigi Magigone, I think that's his, anyway, he's Luigi M. that shot the CEO of the healthcare company. They're glorifying him. The so-called artful liars, meaning the news media, etc., they're glorifying this young man. And I think that is ridiculous, that they're glorifying him and want to put down our people that's trying to help to our people, like meaning how they degraded Malcolm X, degraded the Black Panther, degraded Martin Luther King. They wrote up their articles trying to make them look as villains, but they glorify all the negative individuals like themselves.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up, but thank you for your call. I got a lot of callers. But she is absolutely right. They talked about Dr. King. I'm talking about black folks was against Dr. King. There was a poll out a week before he was killed, and they said 55% of blacks saw Dr. King in the negative, said that he was out of touch. And then the next week he got killed, and all the blacks started talking about my man, Dr. King. Everybody was with him. No, you wasn't. Let me read this. Kennedy Marie Shabazz says, Reverend Al, I got 50 people interested in NAN in Youngstown, Ohio. You're right. It takes one step. Thank you. Well, I hope you're hooking them in to doing a chapter there in Youngstown and getting some to come to convention. I love that, Kennedy. Bless you. and go on and work them so we can all be one way, because we got work to do this year. Let's go to Ethel in Lake Charles, Louisiana, KPPM. Ethel?
It's so good to get in, Reverend Sharpton.
I'm glad you got
in. I'm calling because I was just wanted to tell you about this Muppet show I was watching on TV last night for an hour and 40 minutes. It looked just like I was watching a puppet show. Trump would speak, and the people would get up and just clap.
Yep.
Then they sit down. And he speak again, and they get up and just clap. And he wants to talk about people coming over here and embarrassing America. But America, we stand over here and seeing that we're embarrassed from having a president that's a liar, a president that's a criminal, for someone supposed to be over the whole United States. And we can't believe this. We can't believe what's going on and how people are just sitting back and letting this happen. You know, just a puppet show.
Absolutely.
And we need to start looking at this. And people, I'm tired of people saying that God sent this man, because God sent this man. So God sent this man, and he's taking people's jobs. He's discriminating against people. He's being judgmental, and that's not nothing like God. God is not judgmental. So I just wanted to tell you that
I appreciate your call.
I was very.
I appreciate your call. Let me go to Terry in Cincinnati, Ohio, to Buzz.
How you doing right now?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, I'm blessed. Hey, Rev, I'm gonna get right to the point because I like to hear my elders. I'm an elder myself, but I didn't watch it yesterday because he don't represent me. You know, again, like I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. My Father's upstairs in heaven. So what I'm saying, though, I called in to say about the boycott, the bus boycott. I felt the spirits of my ancestors when we boycotted Monday. I was mad because it was just a day. It needed to be a week, then a month, and then however else. And all we need to do is go to the black businesses.
Right.
Yeah. So and that's what I feel. And then too, I have talked to you before. My mother was a state mother. She told me to don't worry about what I can't do, just do what I can. So I joined the NAACP, Avondale Community Council, which Avondale is like a little Africa because they're trying to take it, all the institutions, gentrification, but that's another story. And then I'm with the NAACP. But so now I want to join your network, because if we don't come together as a black people, us black men, warriors, if we don't come together, take care of our villages and be at the table and not on the menu, because it's our time now. We better do it now, because like Michael Jackson say, they don't care about us. We got to care about each other.
Right.
So I'm going to let you go wherever.
All right, I appreciate that. And go on, you can go right online and join right now, National Action Network.
I will, believe me, because I'm going to do what I can and not worry about what I can't do.
Well, you were raised right. Do what you can do. Queen in Cincinnati, Ohio. Queen.
Hey, Reverend, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. It's wonderful to talk to you. It's been a couple of weeks, and I'm happy to be able to talk to you again. If you don't mind, I'd like to go a little grassroots with it, like the brother a little bit before me. But I want to say that it's written that the enemies of a man are those of his own house. And that's what we're looking at today. And for America, Trump is like playing king of the Jews. And I want to tell black people, the only way to beat this is not to let them dumb us back down to flesh. Because flesh in Scripture is to be absent from God, to be set apart. And when we see ourselves as flesh, then they make big money off of us. And that flesh generates when we get afraid. So our faith is definitely being tested. And also we like in the time of Noah. So many animals are being killed off, and then we're dealing with nations who in Scripture are the lion, the bear, the dragon, and the eagle. I won't say anything else on that. But in the grassroots of it, I've been listening to you guys talk about the purge and appearance, and that's, social acceptability. And I want to look at it from this way. How about God weaning us off of aid to dependent children? Now, we know we need the government for elders right now and for babies and mostly, if you get really, really sick. But let's look at it like this. Let's look at it. Remember, we are the people of the earth. So when we don't accept, like it said, don't accept the things like when they call Black radio in Cincinnati, they say that we are the number one with cancer, AIDS, diabetes, bipolar, schizophrenia. I mean, all these diseases. Faith come about hearing and hearing by the word of God. So when we go to Mother Nature, when we go back to our original mindset as when we couldn't go to the hospitals, when we couldn't work for you, when we couldn't sit next to you, when we couldn't drink your water, when we couldn't do all that stuff, we still had a God that was able. So I'll end it with this.
You sound like an evangelist. You got anointing on your voice.
Now how the Queen of Egypt gonna be an evangelist except my sons buy me a house?
Ha! Bless you. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They called me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are, and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that called me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them. Now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. With the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
I've had a week with bookends of sadness for me. On Monday, I believe, we got word of the passing of Roberta Flack. And Roberta Flack, many of you that's been members of NAN for years, she supported this organization. I first met Roberta Flack when I was about 12 years old. And I had just joined the Brooklyn chapter of Operation Breadbasket. And we had a rally at Bethany Baptist Church. And I was seated on the side in the front because they was getting ready to make me youth director. And the national director of Breadbasket came that night, Reverend Jesse Jackson. And as he came in, he had this lady sitting next to me, and it was Roberta Flack. And I couldn't believe I was sitting there. He told, "Don't let nobody bother, tell us your sister." I said, "Everybody in Brooklyn know my sister." But we bonded from there on, and down through the years, she loved to tell Dominique and Ashley how she knew me when I was a little boy. She'd come and host Kathy's birthdays at Canaan. And it's one of the things that I really appreciated about her. She had her own way of doing music. And, you know, when you are self-confident, you don't have to imitate everybody else. You do things your way. And she did not try to do what other female R&B, they called it at that time. You gotta remember, she became big in the 70s. And the 70s rhythm and blues was hardcore. This is before rap. But she came with this smooth kind of soul that people thought at the record company, that's not gonna sell. And she made hits when it wasn't fashionable and could play a piano. Give a big hand to Roberta Flack. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not gonna have diversity. Outright said he's not gonna deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing. And you in the pulpit, well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which they live. There are no out of place prophets. There are none that God sends to discuss what happened or what's going to happen he uses them to happen right there. Moses didn't preach about Abraham. He got the strength from the lineage of Abraham to lead the Exodus. What will they say about our story? What will they say about our generation? If when you have blatant racism, you two are afraid to stand up and call the truth out.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sharpton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now concerned.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Don't forget, every Saturday and Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And I've already started booking some of these senators and congressmen around President Trump's speech, around them firing all these federal workers, and around this whole question of what he's doing with the Justice Department. So you're going to want to watch both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, I'll be live from Selma, Alabama, where it is the anniversary of the reenactment of the Voting Rights March that John Lewis and Hosea Williams and Amelia Boynton led and were tear-gassed and beaten, led to Martin Luther King coming in, leading the 10-day march to Montgomery, Alabama for voting rights, and it led to the 65 Voting Rights Act. Now here we are 60 years later. This is the 60th anniversary. And Trump and others are trying to take those rights back. So I'm be live from Selma, talk to some of the leaders there, members of the caucus and other civil rights leaders, and some of the foot soldiers that's still alive that marched that day over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, as we're going to do on this Sunday. Also, don't forget, you that are in the New York area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be at the rally in New York Saturday before going to Alabama on Sunday. But make sure you're there at the rally at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And, of course, you that are not in New York, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And then I want you at the convention, National Action Network Convention. It starts April the 2nd through the 5th at the Sheraton in New York. You can go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can on that site register to come. It's all free. If you want to do 1 day, 2 days, a whole 4 days, we're doing workshops and plenary sessions. Among them, we have 6 state attorney generals on how they're going to fight Trump on the issues that is trying to be imposed on us nationally. We have Stacey Abrams is coming. Ben Crump is doing one of our workshops. Tatiana Ali, you know, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, she's doing our women's luncheon. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson be there during our Black Academician, State of Black Education, on and on and on. Make sure you're there. Sign up now at 1-8. You can call in at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, or you can register directly online at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And let me get ready to go to phones. I saw Lori Parks had written on our comment line on live stream. Lori asked, does anyone know the statistics from last week, the boycott? Do you know the statistics of the outcome? The answer is no, Lori. I don't know. As I said, they said this is the Al Sharpton formula, but as I said, I didn't call it. I don't know the man Schwartz in Illinois that did it. I thought it was a good thing to do. The reaction was good. But one of the reasons why I like organizations do things is we need to be able to gauge and report. When we call our boycott in April at the convention, we will give you a report every 30 days for however long it lasts on where their sales are and whether or not. See, because we're talking about a thorough thing. If we boycott a company, we're not only going to tell you don't shop there, we're going to tell their city that until they change on DEI, the city shouldn't do business with them. If they have city contracts or state contracts, we're going thorough. And I'm on there every day. I'm going to be giving reports. The only way you know you're effective is if somebody is reporting. And I believe we need to be reporting. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let me go to David in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. David.
I may not even get to that point.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Reverend Al? I mean, it's an honor to speak to you, man. I know it's not like somebody that I could just call out of the ordinary, man. It's a beautiful feeling to speak to someone that is in contact with Ben Crump and that did funerals for Trayvon Martin and George Floyd and Michael Jackson, and I'm just astonished to be able to speak to you. I want to just share this with you, and just to say this, I'm just a nobody, just trying to speak to somebody who is somebody that has a platform. I need to just say this. When they bomb rushed, Lizinski, I felt that they ambushed him, and they were saying, you're not grateful. You're not grateful. You need to say you're sorry. You appreciate what but then he was looking at him like, well, and you said the administration before me was stupid. Biden was stupid. This was stupid. Everything he did is dumb, is ignorant, is stupid. Well, he gave you $500 billion that I would never have done, but yet I would have looked at him straight in his face and said, okay, you called them stupid, and you said that you wouldn't have never done it, but I'm looking at you now for help, and I'm asking you, where do I have to really, if it needs to be to say thank you, what have you really done for me? Now, they done for me for the $500 billion that you calling stupid, that you saying I should say thank you for him and J.D. Vance, but yet you look, I'm going to look at you in your eye and say, I would tell you if you're really looking for that, I'm asking for you to help me now so I could say thanks for your contribute. For you to contribute to me right now. And you're not sure, even when he showed that he stopped them from when they was getting ready to do it at one point, and he called the House and told the Speaker of the House to block it, not to give it to him. So he has never, ever really offered nothing to help this man, So I'm looking at that, and I was just saying, and also, Reverend Al, I was just saying, you sparked me because after you, I'm like, who else gonna do these marches when I think about Martin Luther King and I think about Malcolm X now? You the only one that's really pushing things. You get up at 4 a.m. and you exercise, then you go and handle your business. You are a man of God that really has given you the energy, and you fight for your people. And I'm like, who's gonna stand up and do this? And I told my wife the other day, I wished I could meet Reverend Al Sharpton and I could stand on the front line like John Lewis started out with Martin Luther King and all them, where you can get in there and when Malcolm X had people to come and say, can I help you in some kind of way, and start to put my input in, because it's nobody gonna be there.
Well, you put your input in right now. You encourage my heart. I thank you for your call. And we'll be in Atlanta soon. When you hear us on the radio say we there, come see me. I'd like to meet you. You seem like a genuinely sincere person.
Inspired me, Reverend Al Sharpton, and I'm going to tell you, I never want to walk into a front line, but you make me want to be out there on that battlefield. If they spray me with water, if they do whatever they got to do, I say I'm right here standing with my brothers who we need to stand with, because after you, there's no one else.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. God always have people come, though. Don't worry about that. And don't worry about after me. I'm going to be around a little while longer. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real. I just finished my Keeping It Real radio show, Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton, on various local stations all over the country, as well as on Sirius XM and on live stream on nationalactionnetwork.net. And I was saying to the people how I was embarrassed for the country when I saw the tape of President Trump getting into a shouting match with the president of Ukraine and calling President Biden name and just all kind of street talk. Sitting there in the Oval Office representing the United States, he couldn't resist taking shots at President Obama, President Biden, having J.D. Vance playing gang up, whether they had practiced this or thought they should do this or not. It's beneath the dignity of any president to engage another head of state like that in a very demeaning, disrespectful way. That's one of the reasons why I keep telling people I've dealt with Donald Trump for 35 years. He calls people names. There's no substance there. There's no sensitivity to what you're doing there. This week, he tweeting names, calling me names, and Joy Reid names, and Rachel Maddow names, just names. And we ought to be above that if we're going to serve the public. Secondly, I wanted to make it clear that, there's been the news out all over about today. A lot of people boycotted. I hope they did. Didn't buy anything. Mr. Swartz out of the Midwest started this. He wasn't trying to be a leader. He was starting up something that he felt would have impact. And that's good. They put my name on it saying this is what Sharpton said. And I did say it. And we have a call of 90 days that we're going to go, not for one day, we're going to announce that we're going after one or two corporations. And we're going to go and stay on that until we win them reinstating DEI or coming with something that is clear that they're committed to diversity. So whether it's the one day today that Swartz and them are doing, that I support any effort, whether it is what some are doing during the Lenten season, Bishop Reginald Jackson and my friend and brother Reverend Jamal Bryant in Atlanta, whatever it is, we support all efforts. In the civil rights movement, you had Dr. Martin Luther King with SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, but you had students that were not members of his organization called SNCC. They formed their own. John Lewis, later Stokely Carmichael. And they did what they did. And you had James Farmer in CORE and Congress of Racial Equality that James Farmer led, Floyd McKissick followed. You had Dorothy Hayden, National Council of Negro Women. There was always different ways we did things. Let's not fight each other. Let's fight those that have done things that have stifled and in many ways prevented fairness and justice for all of us. Those that fight us are united. You got Republicans that know Donald Trump is wrong, but they stay united with him because they want whatever their political goals are to be realized. We should be at least mature enough to be together and support everything that is to the advantage of our making this society equal and fair. That is what we're about. And I would hope you that said that Trump is speaking for you or relating to you, I hope you saw the desecration he did in the Oval Office today. You don't treat people like that. But I guess you do, if you think like that. Bless you. Have a great weekend. See you at the rally in Harlem if you're in New York. I'll see you on Politics Nation Saturday and Sunday night if you're not in New York. Blessings. Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your areas. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing. And you in the pulpit? Well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which they lived. There are no out of place prophets. There are none that God sends to discuss what happened or what's going to happen. He uses them to happen right there. Moses didn't preach about Abraham. He got the strength from the lineage of Abraham to lead the Exodus. What will they say about our story? What will they say about our generation? If when you have blatant racism, you two are afraid to stand up and call the truth out. No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gonna stand up
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come from the big names.
Brother Al Sharpton, keeping it real. And we're back, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Terry in Washington, D.C., WOL. Terry?
Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
It's a rainy afternoon here in the District of Columbia, and it's also raining the Republican revenge. Every time you turn around, you see something different. I don't know if you've heard about the commutation of a sentence that Virginia Governor Youngkin committed a couple of days ago, but it was a gentleman who was being chased in Fairfax County from a shopping mall 2 years ago. And the police who were chasing him for shoplifting shot him twice and killed him.
Wow.
And in that shooting, they looked for a gun because the cop claimed he saw a weapon. Well, they looked for 2 days around the shopping mall and in the wooded area where the cop chased him into in the middle of the night and found nothing. So the jury that tried the case found the officer guilty of a lesser charge rather than manslaughter. They found him guilty of unofficial use of a handgun by a police officer. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. 8 hours after he was put into the cell, Governor Youngkin commuted his sentence. Some papers are calling it a pardon, but they commuted the sentence. He said they were overstepping their bounds, which to me is ridiculous when a jury, after looking at this for 2 years, that he steps in and commutes a 3-year sentence because he felt the jury over-sentenced him. And the parents are just furious with this verdict or the commutation.
Now, what part of Virginia did this happen in?
This happened in Fairfax County, which is just outside of the district. It's one of the ritzier counties in Virginia.
Yeah, I know Fairfax.
Northern Virginia.
I'm going to look into this. That is nuts. Well, you know, there's a petition going around asking for Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, who had the knee on the neck of George Floyd and killed him. They're saying that they're reviewing whether to pardon him.
Yeah. Anything that he can in this revenge to get back at anyone who is a person of color and anyone who thinks has wronged him, he's attempting to wrong a right. Now, the other thing that I've just seen, which kind of shocks me, and I'm sure you've heard of this now, is the Georgia representative who had claimed that the January 6th incident was just like a picnic.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Put up the paper, the motion to remove Black Lives Plaza.
Right.
Which is the Mayor Bowser in the district painted the plaza in front of the White House with Black Lives Matter down the street, which can be visible from outer space.
Right. And now they're making her take it down.
Yeah. And to me, they held a gun to her head. If they didn't do it since it's a federal city, unlike all others, they were going to take away $2 million worth of her transportation money. So I just think that's another one of these revenge tragedies that, they're saying we're going to get you any way we can. But that first one, you should take a look at that one. I mean, even
Fairfax County. No, I'm on it. I'm on it right now. Sending it to my staff. We're gonna come up with something there. Thank you for alerting us to that. Thank you. Let's go to New Jersey to Bernice. Bernice, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Thank you for taking my call, Reverend.
Thank you.
I'm calling because not only am I pissed off about all of this stuff that's going on with Trump and what we have to do to preserve who we are, but last evening, my 11-year-old grandson came home and told his mother that his white friends that was his friends before is now referring to him as a slave and his blackness as darkness. So, I'm very disturbed about it, but I'm sure this is not the first time, and it will not be the last. I'm sure that the parents are talking, and the kids are hearing them, and the kids are bringing it into the schools. So, how do you think we need to address this?
I think now this happened in class or in the school building.
I'm not sure, in the school building, in class, or hallways, or wherever. I'm not really sure.
I think you should go to the
But
principal.
it happened during school.
You should go to the principal of school and demand that they do something not only to reprimand the kids, but address this to the whole student body, because obviously they're being raised and trained that way.
Yeah.
I would go as parents to the school and say that you want to see the whole school dealt with on this, and whoever the student is pointed out. And if he will not act, tell him you're going to call me. I will call him. I'll come in there.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Let me know,
Yeah.
Bernice. That's what I do.
I will.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Anita in Chapel Hill, New Jersey. Anita.
Reverend Al?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I guess they had their magician show last night, huh? We supposed to believe everything we saw was true. Abracadabra, I'm God.
Yep.
Well, we know that's not true. And I want to say something. I keep telling you guys about, you wasn't on the air, but your daughter was. The car is a horse, okay? It's the new version of a horse. Someone was telling me that the horses have started to really make a mess by using, the drippings from them. Okay, I said, yeah, so are cars with all these things that's causing tornadoes and hurricanes. And, so we're not jumping up and down over the Teslas until he can make that Tesla work like God. Since they say they God, I want to make sure that they're doing all those good things that God does for us. And God gave us all these things. And had it worked for us, it didn't work against us. Now, if we're dumb enough to fall for the foolishness that it's really going to work in abracadabra, then we're crazy. God's been good to us all these years and to man all these years and all these nations and all this environment and giving us everything. The Tesla is nothing but a new horse, and it has to obey God, just like the planes crashing into each other. Birds don't fly drunk and tired and not paying attention. And I don't want to, we have to be responsible about taking care of the earth for the real God. And but as far as education, God has blessed my family to be really, especially me, to be blessed in teaching children. I ain't even worried about them in education. I could teach the children so fast it's not funny. All my kids went through college. I had science, math in college, the calculus and things like that. It's really simple. You just got to have a lot of work, and you got to start on the child very early. And that's something they prevented us from doing because they had our mothers out working. So don't be afraid. We're going to enjoy 2025. And remember, the Tesla is just a horse, and it's got to work as good as the horse worked for us for all these years and get us to Grandma's house.
All right. Thank you for your call. Can I go to one more, or do I need to go to break here?
Let's go to break.
Let's go to break. I'll come right back to you on the phone and read some of our postings. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. With the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We gonna shine at the shade. Give me up, Papa God, rain, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they are trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI,
Reverend Al Sharpton.
under assault with
And
Indian
we're back 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I've been on the horn. I got some heavyweights coming for you this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And then, of course, you that are in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, meet me at the Saturday Action Rally this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 in Harlem at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. You that are not in New York can watch it live on Impact Television. And if you have not signed up, sign up, get your friends, your family, everybody sign up and come 1 day, 2 days, all 4 days to the National Action Network's National Convention 2025. We're going to unveil our boycott plans there. And we're going to have workshops led by the likes of Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, Attorney Ben Crump, Stacey Abrams. We're going to have Tatiana Ali at the women's luncheon. We're honoring at the big dinner Patti LaBelle. So you want to be there. A lot of history going to be made. And we leaving there with an action agenda. Let me also say on Monday, this coming Monday, at 4 p.m., the funeral services for Roberta Flack will be in New York at the Abyssinian Baptist Church. I've been asked to give the eulogy 4 p.m. Monday the 10th. So I'll be leaving Selma after the march that night. I'm going in Sunday morning, coming back that evening so I can be there for the funeral services and do the eulogy for Roberta Flack. Then on Wednesday is the funeral services for Hazel Dukes, one of the leaders of the NAACP. So it's going to be a rough week. I knew both these women so well. but you that are around should come and honor and celebrate their lives. Roberta Flack will be Monday the 10th, 4 p.m. at Abyssinian Baptist Church is on 138th Street between 7th and Lenox. And then Hazel Duke's funeral will be at Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem. I believe it's 137th Street. And between 7th and 8th. And Dr. Malcolm Bird, who works here at Nan, is the pastor of the church. And we'll be there with Hazel Dukes, 140 West 137th Street. And that funeral starts at 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday the 12th. But viewing will be 7 to 9 on Tuesday and 9 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday before the funeral. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Thomas in Panama City. Thomas.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to add addition to what has already been stated earlier in your calls about supporting Black colleges, and with this thing with NILs and stuff. I think if we focus, in addition to everything else, sending our kids back to HBCU, not only, the ones that are premier, maybe they could give back and become alumni and give to those and pay the way forward. And I just thought that would be a great thing, in addition to also banking, also encouraging to go to colleges. I mean, we have March Madness coming up. What great way if we had 10 HBCUs in the March Madness, because of, them not wanting to do business or go to their schools.
I think that's great. Thank you for your call. That's interesting. Thank you for your call.
I got an additional thing too.
Go ahead.
I wanted to also, Leon called earlier and talked about developing maybe like a green book. I would like to participate. I have a software company here in Florida, and I would like to donate my time if that's something that's on the table. I don't know how to leave my information with them.
Sure. Get his information and get it to us. No problem. They'll pick you up and get all the information. I appreciate that. Let's go to Gene. Gene in Georgia, WAOK. Gene.
Good day, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Good day to you.
Listen, thank you for taking my call.
All right.
And Saturday and Sunday at 5 o'clock, I know where I'm going to be. I look forward to it because the information that you give, the platform that you put on, is much needed today. It's very much needed. And I often wonder, where would we necessarily be if we didn't have somebody like Reverend Al Sharpton? You out here, you fight for not just people of color, but everybody benefits from what it is that you're doing. And I just want to commend you for that. So my thing of it is that I noticed two things to me. And I'm sure that, if you would elaborate or whatever, I'm not looking for like confrontation on it, but to me, there's two things that we need to recognize that two of the most powerful tools, well, it's three, most powerful tools in our toolbox. Number one is our money. Number two, or it could be number one for our vote. And number three is education. So the thing of it is I did a little bit of research on when the Jewish people first came to America. They lived in places that was called, at that time, the ghetto. That's where we get that from. So they would go and ask these people that came here to give them loans, give them money, so they could do what they do. They was denied. So what they did, they started their own banks, they started their own grocery store, they started their own businesses, and they traded with each other. Now you get people marching down the street saying the Jews won't replace us. Why? Because the Jews run the World Bank now. Everybody that gets money, just about big money, has to go through goes through this Jewish controlled banks in order to get the money. They don't care who they loan money. When America was fighting Vietnam, they financed Vietnam. When and the Americans both, they was loaning money to both of them. So I'm saying of it is that when I at my church I go to, they talk about we need to do this, we need to do it. The first question I ask them, what bank do you have your money in?
That's right.
I got my money in a black bank.
Right.
When I go in, these people look like me. They can identify with me. They're not sitting there trying to figure out how not to give me a loan. And I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to prove to them twice, 3 times, 4 times over to give me a loan. So if we really wants to do anything, we need to really seriously look at, and I heard you talk about our pensions and all of that funds and where they are being held. So if we look at
our taxes, if you look at the fact, Gene, that we have cities, I don't know where you are in Georgia, where majority black citizens pay their taxes, and the tax dollars all go to white banks who use that money whatever way they want, and like you said, won't even give us a loan or a mortgage. But they got millions, if not billions, of our tax dollars that they bank and handle for the government.
Yes, and when you're putting this out here, you're actually putting something out here that real heavy in what you're saying. But I think the people take it lightly. We'll study going to these banks, begging them to give us stuff when we can create our own banks. We should be. If we all go and take our money out, there's a bank here, and if you don't mind me shouting, it's called Citizen Trust. It's a black institution.
I know Citizen Trust, black bank.
Okay, that's where I deal. People say, well, why do you deal there? They pay you low interest rates and all that. People don't understand, Reverend Sharpton. In order for us to, as a black people as a whole, to get anywhere in this arena, there's a price to be paid. And if we are not willing to pay that price, I'm willing to pay somebody look like me a little bit more for something as long as they do quality work. I'm willing to pay a little bit more because I understand we are so far behind the 8 ball until we need that. And hopefully, and I've heard you expound on that, hopefully when they catch up, they can lower their prices and help others to catch up.
Right.
We need to step up, pay the price, invest in institutions that look like us to where we can benefit. And listen, I just want to appreciate you. And there's one prayer that I pray, and that is that Reverend Al Sharpton live forever and that I never die.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really like what you had to say about that banking, because that's going to be part of our boycott package. I promise. Thank you. Let me rush into Al. Al in Rochester. I'm trying to get Al in. While we're going to Al, I wanted to read this comment on that came up. Tricia says, Reverend Al, I would like to thank you for giving us a voice via live stream because I've tried to get through, but I am unable to hold on that long. Thank you. That's why I'm doing both, Tricia, and thank you for sending me that message. Al in Rochester, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
Well, I just wanted to make a short comment about that circus Donald Trump held yesterday. You know, braggadocious as usual. The cuts here, the cuts there. How does he expect for these agencies to function? They can barely keep up now. The IRS, for example. You're talking about millions of tax returns. And, you know, I have to just say one thing. I'm not a gambling man, but I will wager any amount of money 70% of those fired workers voted for him.
I think a large percentage did, no doubt about it.
Yeah, right. And it's mind-boggling. You know, now you want to complain. You got state senators being put on notice in Central America, and I'm talking about predominantly white population. They receive just as many benefits as everyone else.
That's right. I hear the music. I got to go. Call me first tomorrow, and I'll take you first. Let me thank all of you that called in, all of you that listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody Reverend Al told you personally. Keep it real. 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 I'll talk to you tomorrow. Keep it real.